Whether they're running away from boulders or hanging onto planes, these actors insisted on doing their own stunts and keeping their stunt double on the bench. Get ready to be reminded of some of the most jaw-dropping, heart-pounding, and foolishly brave feats that will have you wondering just how much these stars were being paid to risk their lives. In today's video, we're going to take a trip down memory lane and take a look at some of the forgotten dangerous movie stunts that celebrities did themselves. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the channel. Starting off, Mary Stuart Masterson in Fried Green Tomatoes. You might think of jumping off of cliffs or hanging off of a plane when you think of the word stunt. But this one is an underrated test of might that our dear Mary Stuart Masterson had to do. This was supposed to be a scene where our dear Idgie Threadgood shows off her bee wrangling skills to her friend Ruth Jameson. But turns out the hired professional stunt bee wrangler chickened out at the last minute and left our girl Masterson to face the swarm. But face it, she did. She was smeared with a drop of queen bee pheromones on her arm and let thousands of bees cover her like a living bee sleeve. Funnily enough, the thing she feared the most wasn't what you'd expect. It was the deafening noise of thousands of bees buzzing in her ears that scared her the most, not the fear of getting stung. Years later, thinking of herself as a sham of a beekeeper, Masterson bought a farm, installed a few beehives, and now she's a real-life bee charmer, proving that sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. Next time you see her, make sure to ask her about her beekeeping skills, but don't expect her to invite you to a picnic with bees around. Number 2. Tom Cruise hanging off the side of a plane in Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. Speaking of hanging off planes, did you know that Tom Cruise literally hung off the side of an Airbus A400M while it was taking off? Let's take a look at his death-defying stunt in Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. When the script called for a scene of Ethan Hunt hanging off the side of a plane, the producers probably could have just taken the easy way out with some green screen and CGI. And Tommy could have just let his hypothetical stunt double do all the work. But oh no, not our boy Tommy. He decided to take things to new heights, literally, and opted to have himself be the one to hang onto the plane as it took off. The producers tried their best to keep Tom Cruise safe, with only a harness and his bare hands keeping him latched onto the plane. But even then, it must have been terrifying being up there. We're not sure if it was the thrill of danger or just a midlife crisis, but either way, he pulled it off. The craziest part? They had to shoot this scene 8 times before getting the shot they wanted. So poor Tommy had to cling to the plane for roughly 7 minutes every time they shot the scene before they could land. Number 3. Angelina Jolie being hooked to a harness on the hood of a car in Wanted. When you think of celebrities that star in awesome action movies, Angelina Jolie should certainly be one of the top few in your mind. And she's no exception when it comes to performing her own ludicrous stunts. Especially in the movie Wanted. A movie which I think we can all safely assume tired the heck out of its cast with the amount of crazy feats they had to pull off. During a high-octane car chase, Angelina's character had to fend off a persistent chaser, and instead of taking the traditional route of just shooting through the Dodge Viper's windows, she decided to up the ante by shooting out her own windshield and hanging off the hood to shoot at the pursuer behind her. Kinda over the top and awesome, right? They must have used CGI or something. But in reality, our dear Angie was the one on the hood, no stunt double or CGI. They didn't even pull the fake car with green screen behind it trick either. Angelina was hooked to a harness while the car drove at a whopping 30 miles per hour. You might not think that's as fast as it appeared in the movie, but rest assured, it's still quite dangerous. Number 4. Kevin James falling into a kid's ball pit in Paul Blart Mall Cop. When it comes to celebrities that do their own stunts, you wouldn't normally think of Kevin James. But despite what you might think, this man is determined to push himself to the limits when it comes to performing ridiculous physical feats. In one scene in Mall Cop, Paul goes head-to-head with the robber on the rooftop of the mall, but instead of taking the traditional route, he decides to close out the arrest in the most unexpected way possible, by charging into the robber through a skylight and plunging them both into a kid's ball pit. It's a move worthy of a true mall cop, always thinking outside the box and ready for some unexpected action. Despite the thrilling nature of this scene, Kevin recounts this as the most dangerous and worst stunt he had to do for this movie. For the first shot, they raised and dropped him from 10 feet up, but that wasn't enough for the director. Oh no, not at all. For the next shot, they upped the ante to 30 feet and did it again. Poor Kevin felt like he was a toy in a claw machine. Not only was it dangerous to do, but to make it even worse, Kevin has a fear of heights. Number 5. Buster Keaton having an entire house fall on him in Steamboat Bill Jr. Actor Joseph Frank Keaton is a well-known silent filmmaker from back in the 20th century, and he's famous for pulling insane stunts in his films. But let's be honest, the stunt he does in Steamboat Bill Jr. takes the cake, and we should never forget this one. In this scene, a tornado is ravaging the surrounding area, blowing away everything. Keaton's character takes cover under a bed outside a house, but as you can imagine, that doesn't end well for him. The bed gets blown away, and just seconds later, the front of the house falls onto him. But don't worry, folks. Keaton's character comes out unscathed. Thanks to a stroke of luck and sheer coincidence, the whole of the second-floor window landed right around him. But of course, this was no smoke and mirrors kind of situation, no illusion or any sort of trick. Buster Keaton had calculated this skit to perfection, giving a few inches of space around his shoulders, head, and feet so that the one-ton house could fall on top of him perfectly. Talk about a close call. If he miscalculated even a little, it could have been the end of him. But the real icing on the cake is how Keaton didn't even flinch, let alone show an ounce of fear when shooting the scene. A true testament to his acting skills and his bravery. Or maybe he's just a huge fan of mimes. Number 6. Harrison Ford racing a boulder in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Harrison Ford is well known for his roles as Indiana Jones and Han Solo, but did you know that he also liked to do his own stunts as well? Our dear Ford would insist on giving his stunt double a break, especially for Raiders of the Lost Ark. In an iconic scene of the movie, Indiana Jones loots the idol, setting off booby traps in the temple, which escalate in severity from one scene to another, with a climactic end of him having to outrun a massive boulder as it rolls towards him from behind. It's a classic scene that showcases Ford's ability to make running away from a boulder look like an Olympic event. While Harrison is a great actor, and he perfectly showcases the sense of urgency Indiana Jones has for saving his own skin, that fear was real for Harrison. The boulder was a fake prop, but it was capable of wreaking havoc on poor Ford, to the point where it could have easily killed him. Ford was running for his life every time they had to shoot that scene, and boy did they have to shoot that scene multiple times. Harrison had to outrun that rock 10 times. Maybe they should cast him if there's ever a Crash Bandicoot movie. Actors can't get away with doing these kinds of death-defying stunts anymore, because producers want to rely more on professional stunt performers, mainly because of safety and insurance reasons. But let's be honest, it's probably for the best, given how insane these feats can get. Did we miss out on any movie stunts that celebrities did themselves? Let us know in the comments below.